Okay, I think we're good to go. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Thursday. Let's see who we've got here. We've got Mr. G, Click Tech Kev, Steps, Andy Magic Knight, Fitren, Pro 7, Foray, Heyo to you too, Vostiar. I feel very Christmassy today. I think it's the Christmas tunes and probably the beard as well. SP175, True Tinders. I think I said both of you, but hello again. Russell Mills, some name that looks distinctly Welsh. I'm going to call you Power Down Systems because I think that's what you mean, but it looks like a Welsh name. You nailed it, yeah. It does look like a Welsh name, though. How you all doing tonight? I'm feeling really good, actually. I've had a bit of a weird day today. So I've been doing a lot of reverse engineering again today, Android applications. But at the same time as well, I've been trying to do Mega 65 stuff, working to try and get my make files kind of building in a very specific way. So it's been a day of kind of different stuff that I don't normally do on a day to day. I think that's why I feel so perky here. So I've been doing stuff that's not my normal stuff. So it's been exciting. It's going slow on the Mega 65 at the moment. I've just got a couple of stumbling blocks that I need to get over that's stopping me from progressing any further, but hopefully with the help of the Mega 65 team, we should get through those all right. Okay, so Cecconoid is what we're going to work on tonight. Hopefully you guys can see that all right. Oh, let me give you all points and stuff. Let me do that before the crying begins. I know Steps needs his fix, you see. There you go. Points. Yeah. Oh yeah. I'll start the races as well for you. Yeah, Steps. You mean you? I do mean Steps. Steps. It's either Steps or Amok that always come to me and say, "Points, please." It's kind of funny. Oh wow, that was a quick one. Who got that? Dark J. Nice. Very well known game though, I guess. Okay, so let's see where we're at. If I remember rightly, last time we'd got the weapon change routines and the proper upgrade of the weapon. The weapons don't. Oh, and speed upgrades as well. We need to get rid of that border color change. Oh, actually, that didn't seem to do anything, that speed, or did it? And I'm just not noticing. Let me make some windows so I can see stuff. So what I wanted to do tonight was another kind of screen-specific layout thing. So on the last episode, which was probably 2 weeks ago now. Yeah, it was. On the last episode, I added static values to the bonus pods, so you can pick up a pod on one screen. It will always be the same thing that you pick up on that screen, and that was done with these. We find it in here. No, it's not in the exports. It is in. Oh, where did I put it actually? Was it in maps? Yeah, maps. Here we go. No, it wasn't in that. Where the hell was it now? I put a list in. Oh, maybe it's in destroyables, maybe. No, I forgot where I put it now. I'll find it in a second. Screen macros. Nope. Load. No, it's not that either. Is it? That's the loader for the screens. Oh god, what did I do with it? Power ups, maybe. Here we go. Power ups. So this power-ups file has a list of all the screens and what power-ups are on that screen. As I say, we may need to update this to use combinations of power-ups if there's more than one on that screen. But for now, this is fine. But the point I'm trying to make is that what we have is each screen has a unique kind of thing that it looks up. We're going to do something similar with the next system. So this could end up being moved into where I'm going to do this next thing. So we've got these files here, which are our screen initialization files. So you can see on this first screen, let's get rid of that now, it doesn't need that. On the first screen, it adds two sprites, which are the little rotating orbs at the top. And it animates them in the update. And that's all it does, really. And loads of persistence in that it needs for that screen. Every screen will have one of these files. Most of them will be very small. We'll just import the persistence data. But there will be some with some specific things in. So one of the things I'm going to add into here is the ability to create kind of secret areas almost. So let's just start the game up again and I'll show you what I mean. Let me just load a few things into this side. While I do this, I will let you know what's going on with the YouTube video from the last Mega 65 stream. I wrote a script yesterday to go over the raster rewrite buffer stuff and recorded it last night. There's a few little changes I need to make to it, but it sounds quite good. And it's a bit of a more kind of structured video than what I normally do. So there's a little bit of an explanation why we need the raster rewrite buffer, a little bit of a mini history of sprites, if you like, and then I explain it. So I've just got to draw all the stuff that's needed and play some games so I can get some clips to use in it. But yeah, it should be pretty good. And if it's a style of video that works, I may slowly transition to that on tutorials and stuff at some point. Welcome, Bahamut. Hope you're doing well. Okay. So what I want to take note of now is, first of all, does this speed update work? Because it didn't look like it, but oh yeah, maybe it was. So you can see on this screen we have these things, these sprites. They're initialized by this init function here. You can see we've got two add sprite macros here. And the indexes for them get stored in orb1 index and orb2 index. So this is code that's unique to this screen. But there are macros to do certain things for this screen. And then the update and exit do various things like clear the sprites from the screen, which we need to do because we've added two here. And there's some updates here which will update the frames in these two. So that's why these files exist. The persistence data is pulled in from the map, from the char pad. So these things down here that you can explode, which I can't do on there, but these I can, are pulled in from another file. So that they're recorded between levels. So if I go off this screen now and come back, those things are gone, you see. And you can see my speed has gone up, so that's good. Hey, FexPT, welcome. So that's why the persistent stuff is in there. So what I'm going to do is we need to add secrets in. So one of the things you can do in this screen is you can go behind this wall here. You can go all the way across, maybe halfway across it, and then up into another screen up here, which you can't get to because we're blocked at the moment. Oh, Myth, I love this tune. This tune never gets old at all. This is one of those tunes that I could never work out how to play this game. I think it was just too difficult, and I didn't really understand it properly at the time. I was a bit young when I played it, I think. So I didn't really understand it, but I just used to load it up because I loved the music in it. So I've got an 8-input NAND, a quad NAND, and an 8-port mux to handle the I/O space. Oh, on your okay. I was wondering. I read the last message and not the previous ones. Okay, cool. Yeah, I kind of after messing around with the Mega and kind of seeing the stuff that people are doing with FPGA, I kind of want to mess around with building a machine like that maybe at some point. So yeah, anyway, there is a secret screen up here that you can get to, and it's got Zub in it as well, which would be a good place to start our kind of screen specific larger animations. Um, so oh God, there's crap all over my mouse. So we need a way to be able to move through this scenery. So what I didn't want to do was have two sets of characters. So you can see how this wall is the same character as this one down here. I don't know if you can see my mouse. Yeah, you can just about. So you can see this wall down here. This is solid, but it's the same characters as this. So I didn't want to have um a separate set of characters for this wall because we're already using 512 and we have to having to do clever stuff to make this work and scroll between screens correctly. So instead, what I propose is we can define rectangular areas which become passable. Um, so basically, what happens is in let's set it up in this screen. So this is the screen that's going to happen here. Good evening, Zenda. You just noticed through stream. Oh, reminds me actually, if you haven't already, guys, and there is a message for this now. So there we go. Zendar arranged a really cool bundle on itch.io. I'm involved as well. You can get Luna, and a special version of Dot Cosmos called Dot Christmas is in there. But it's also got games from Carlton Hanley, Antonio Savona, Zendar as well. I think Megastyle got a game in there. Sarah Jane Avery's got a game in there. There's a lot. There's a lot of games in there. 15 or 16 games, I think. I can't remember the exact. Oh, I think I put 15 there. It might be 16 there. And it's $5. And you do get some Christmas versions of games that don't exist anywhere else. That only exist in the bundle. So definitely worth checking out. And I realize that's me plugging something myself, but it's a definitely a good bundle of games in there. There's some games that were free already, but there's some paid games in there as well. And as I say, there's games that just aren't available anywhere else as well. So definitely worth getting hold of. Just an awesome bundle. And it's been featured on the itch.io page as well. It's a featured bundle on the page. If you can't plug your own channel, where can you? Yeah, good point. Good point. But yeah, I made a little command for it because I thought it was handy. And as with anything related to my stream, the same with the itch bundle as well. I'll be putting it all back into all the money I get from my portion of that. My split of that will go back into the stream on prizes and stuff. I'm still not entirely sure what I'm going to do for the Christmas prizes, but I've got some sneaky ideas about it. Uh, yeah, and I may do that stream in a Santa hat and a red t-shirt. Maybe. We'll see. Okay, so what I wanted to do was create a new system. Almost, I don't know what to call it. Or where to put it. I'm just going to turn up music down. It's slightly annoying. There we go. Oh yeah, Man Cave is in there as well. Yeah. Um, yeah. So what I propose is we have a very very simple system. Probably something like this, which will be like so this is a screen macro SM, that's what that stands for. Add passable area. And basically you give this 4 values. So you'll give it an X, a Y, a width, and a height. And all this is going to do is it's just going to define a rectangle. So if I go into Charpad, let me just open this up. Oh, Jesus Christ. I really need to turn the HDR off on this monitor. It's too much. I don't need it for C64 as well. Problem is turning it on and off all the time is a bit tedious. You've got to have it on in Windows if you want to have it on in games. You can't have games just turn it on their own. It has to be a Windows setting, unfortunately, which is not ideal. To be honest, the Windows implementation of HDR is really not good at all. They've really not thought about it. I've got so many projects now, it's crazy. Like this one here. Okay, it doesn't really matter which one I show you anyway. So you can see here, if I move up here, there is a bonus screen here, and basically you'll go into it like this, and Zub is flying around at the top up here. Let's just make that the right size. So there's like a star field moving across here and Zub's flying around up here. Can't do anything with this area up here. You just come in here and get these bonus pods. And I've just realized there are more than one pod on the screen. So we are going to have to change slightly how these pods work. But that's fine. We'll get to that. At least we've got the system kind of working at the moment. But we are going to have to change this slightly, which is fine. So I was kind of wondering if there was a screen with more than one, and sure enough, the next screen is going to have them. So what we need to do is, in order to get to this level, we need a passable area here. And the way this is, I see this working, is quite simple, really. There'll be 2 rectangles here. Let me define the rectangles here so you can see. So I'm going to cut them out. So that will be 1 rectangle. Whoops, why is that not letting me delete it? Can I not delete like that? Do I have to do it like that? Okay, so this will be 1 rectangle like that. So we'll define it by this position here, this width, this height, and then there'll be another rectangle here, just a very small one that leads onto that screen. So there's 2 rectangles here, and if you are inside any of these rectangles, then the collision for those particular squares will be ignored. So it's quite simple. All we need to do is we define the rectangles get stored somewhere. They get cleared whenever you exit a screen. They get re-added again when you enter a screen. And then anytime we do a collision, we check, first of all, is there any rectangles on this screen? If there's not, we just carry on with the collision as normal. However, if there are rectangles on this screen, then what if the square that we're checking is inside that rectangle, then just return as if there is no collision. And that way we'll be able to define kind of random rectangles around the screen, and the player will be able to go behind. Now, there is one other problem with this, and that is if you imagine the sprite over the top of it. In fact, you can see it in the game. So if I go here, so you can see how we're only using 2 colors. We're using black and white. So if I go into the scenery like that, you can still see me through the black there, which is going to be a problem with this area here, because if I go through here, you're still going to see the white kind of show up in places. So an additional thing we need to be able to do is to mask this sprite here. And the easiest way to do that is to use the sprite that we were originally using behind this, and just put it on top. So we'll have a sprite on top, and it will just be a square, and it will either be there and positioned so that we get masked properly, or it won't. Won't be there if we're not behind any mask. So that's another section we need to work out. Again, that will be related to your position and any rectangle positions. So just to do this in here, just to show you, let me just scroll down a little bit. Let me just add a load of extra space into that. Okay, So if you imagine this is our ship, this piece here, and we'll use these yellow things as a wall. So if we go behind a wall like this, then what we need to do is we need to move a sprite over the top of the player in this position so that it blacks out the player, so that all we will see is the wall, and we won't see, in this case, any red pixels behind it. So that's going to be a little bit tricky. So I just stole my first credit card. I'm an amateur hacker, got someone to download a keylogger. Oh god, so bad. uh well done though. Okay, so I don't know why I'm drawing here. So that's what we're going to aim to do. So the first thing to do is to get these rectangles working. Um, so let's take a look. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to add one of these macros in. It's getting really yeah. Also tonight I'm drinking cider, but in cans. It's not quite as interesting. Not quite as nice. Sorry, interesting. It's much nicer out of the bottles. Better than Tenants, yeah. Well, most things. I see. I mean, it's not too bad. It's just I prefer the bottles. Okay, let's get macros, screen macros. Here we go. And we're going to need a system for storing these areas. So, I mean, I need to tidy some of this up. I keep saying that, and I should do that at some point. Items, maybe. No, because they're behaving like the particles. It's nothing to do with the particles. That's why it's in the particles section. Let's do it in this area. Let's do it in the game section, and we can move it later. So, call this passable areas .asm. It's not a very catchy name, but it'll do. Okay, so obviously this needs to be cleared every time we come into a screen. So I'm gonna create an init function. Every time the init function is called, it's gonna clear everything in that area, unless there's a system init reset. Actually, yeah, let's do init and reset. What's in decals? Init reset. Yeah, let's copy the same functionality. So init will actually set the base values at when the game starts. Reset is what we'll call whenever a new screen is loaded. And then we'll have add in here, which will add an area. Okay, and then we need data, which is going to be the data that we're going to process. So the data is going to be quite simple. There's going to be an index in here, which is going to be, in fact, do we have a name? Do we have a consistent name for that? Next index. There we go. Next index. And we can store some values. So we're going to have X. And I guess we need to put a max value in. So let's go and find constants. Items, power-ups, screen edges, explosions, entities. Let's put passable areas here. It's not very catchy way. I'm going to put 4 in. I don't think we'll need many more than 4. We can change it if we need to. I'm basically just going to fill these with values in here. So we need an X, a Y, width, and a height. Now, unlike items, decals, things like that, these will be set once when we enter the screen, and we will never be removing them until we exit the screen. So there's never any case where there'll be a gap in the middle. Next index will always point to the last item in the well, will point to one more than the item in the array. So when we're doing a loop through things, so say we're doing a check here. I don't know if it will be called check, but let's just say we're doing a check here. We do whatever stuff we need to do in here where we're checking various things in the array. I'm going to leave this in here actually, just to remind me. And then at the end, you would do increase X, compare X to data next indexed. And if it's less than that, we continue. And that's how we're going to loop around this information in here. So whenever we add something in here, next index is going to be filled up, which means reset is really simple. Reset basically just needs to do this. And that's pretty much it. Same with init as well, but we'll do that by just jumping into reset here. There may be some stuff we need to set up above here, so I will leave it as an init function. But that should be enough. One thing we do need to do though is we do need to check this value as soon as we come into here. And if it's not equal to 0, then we can start doing it. Otherwise, we need to exit. The reason being is if we don't, actually, let's just put the exit down here. There you go. This just makes sure that if we're going through a check like this and we don't have any indexes, it doesn't actually do anything once. So it should fix that. Anyone spray painted C64? Yeah, old school coder did his Raspberry Pi C64 in raspberry red color. It was quite nice actually. I'm always quite scared to do spray painting on things because it tends to scratch off. So you need to be very patient and very take your time with it. Do plenty of layers, lacquer it when you finish, things like that. Prepare it properly as well. Don't make sure it's make sure that the thing is as clean as you can possibly get it. Rough it up with some sandpaper to make sure that the thing will stick. Use a base coat, a proper base primer. You can get plastic primers. I forget the name. I think it's just called plastic primer spray paint. It's like a grey spray paint specifically for painting plastic pieces. And then when you do the top coat, it should stick a little bit better. And it's probably advisable to put a UV proof lacquer on the top as well. I bought a 3D printable version of the bread bin off somebody on. I'm trying printing some glow in the dark resin, but not tried it yet. How big is that mythical duck? Is that, I mean, because if you're going to do that in resin, how big is your printer? I mean, I can probably print a case on my FDM printer, but I couldn't do one on my resin printer. Full size, but you made it in okay. Made it from segments to screw it together. The only thing with resin is it's really, really. Oh, okay, it is FDM. Okay, yeah. I mean, I can print a full size C64 case on my printer, on my FDM printer, but it would take forever, and I'm pretty sure it would screw up halfway through and waste a ton of plastic. So, but I've been doing a few FDM prints recently, and I've got it calibrated quite well at the moment, so I'm quite pleased. Okay, so this is kind of the basis of what we need. So we need to add an area. So let's look at how we would go about doing this. Okay, we've got this SM add sprite. Sorry, SM add passable area. So we need the screen macro for that. So let's stick that in here. SM add passable area. And this is going to be X position, Y position. This is char pos as well. Let's make sure we put it in as char pos so it's obvious when we come back and look at this, which means width and height are obviously this char pos as well. So the way I'm going to do this is when we add something, it's literally just going to take, it's going to take this value, it's going to increment it, it's going to, no, just trying to think because I want it to return. So I want it to return the value in X, which is this. Okay, so if I'll do it like this. So load it there, transfer it to X register. So I could just do it like that. There we go. Okay, nice and simple. So all this is doing, this is adding one to here. It's not filling the width and the height in, and that's because we need to pass 4 values in. So all we're going to do is we're just going to return the index and increment it, and then in the screen macro in here we can actually add things. So if we do passable areas dot add, the X register now, X is now the index to update. So now we can do things like this. And these are the things we need to update. Oops. Let's make this a function as well. Oh, actually, we don't think we can make it a function, can we? No, this isn't going to get any smaller. This is as small as it needs to be. These ones can definitely be made into functions, but this one probably needs to stay as a macro, to be honest. Also, these need these. Can't wait to see the new Mega 65 Thalamus releases they mentioned on Twitter. Did they mention Mega 65? I don't think they mentioned Mega 65. I think they mentioned remasters, which will just be C64 remasters. What is WH? It's the width and height in. Oh, it's width. It is width and height in here. Fair enough. Oh yeah. What am I doing? It's just me being stupid. Thank you. Okay, and it's a macro, so I don't need a return on the end. Okay, so that's you can have 2.500 AMK points. Oh my god, I ran out of cider already. God, that went down quick. Okay, when I take a break, I'm going to grab 2 of those. What could you remaster them to? I think what Andy is doing is getting some of the games done on cartridge with additional levels or additional features. Like Hunter's Moon basically was a remastered version. So Hunter's Moon came out on disc and tape originally, and they did a cartridge release, which had new levels, a level editor, I think updated music, some bug fixes as well, a new intro. They had quite a few new things in it. They just basically it's basically a modern re-release. And I think it's going to be the same for the other ones as well. Intro and outro, yeah. Yeah, it's good. I've got it back there. I'm terrible at that game though. Really, really bad at that game. It's so hard. It's not an easy game at all. Um, I'm not very good at it. Okay. Oh, quiz. Who's gonna get this one? God, I don't recognize that at all. Stupid question, but if these possible areas are going to be fixed, why write a macro for adding them? What do you mean? You mean store it in the map data instead? Afterburner. I'm not sure what you mean. Is that what you mean? Add it in the map data. So the only reason I'm doing it in the map data is because of the limitations of Charpad. I haven't written a char editor for this game. Normally, I would go and write my own map editor, and I'm already pushing the limits of what I can do with Charpad anyway. Um, so this is it's not ideal, but I don't have any other way of marking these particular chars here as passable without creating new chars. Um, and I don't want to create new chars. So yeah, I get I get exactly what you're saying. And normally I would do it like this, but uh, thankfully, memory is not a huge concern because we are using cartridge. So it's very easy to kind of load these screen definitions in on the fly if we need to. But I believe we'll have enough memory to not even need to do that as well. Because graphics are going to be loading in on the fly. So things like sprites are going to load per screen. There's going to be a handful of sprites that stay the same. But there will be some sprites that load differently per level. But yeah, that's why. That's why. Good question though. Good question. So yeah, that's why there's a macro there. Thankfully, the macro is quite small, so it's not a huge amount. I mean, you could imagine passable areas being something defined in the map data would probably be a small header, maybe 2 bytes or something, 2 or 3 bytes, and then one of these for each of the areas. So you probably for this particular screen, you'd be looking at 4 bytes per area plus a small header, whereas this is a bit more than 4 bytes. I mean, it's 5, 10, 15, 20, 23. So it's using 19 more bytes, but it's not a huge amount really when you look at it. You could probably be a bit clever about how you did this by using functions instead of macros, but again, it's a minor thing. I mean, you could essentially use accumulator X and Y to set up 3 of them, and then set some of those. So it's fine. I needed some sort of multi-cut. There are some multi-cut things you can get. I forget what the name is. They might just be called multi-cart adapters, but you can definitely get some for the Commodore 64. I need to get one myself actually because I want to do some Gmod programming, but I want to do it while being able to like copy from one like copy expander. That's the one. Yes. Um, I want to be able to turn them on. I don't want to have to keep unplugging the cartridges all the time. So one of the things that I think that it is the expander, yeah. One of the things the expander does is let you turn cartridges on and off as well. So you can have a cartridge plugged in, but not necessarily active. Um, and I want the ability to be able to do that as well. So okay. So we're gonna start with this first screen. Again, all of these screens, even though they're they're working and kind of coherently joined together, this isn't necessarily the final map. I'm still waiting on Andy to pass the final map to me. I should chase him on that a little bit actually, because we are getting to the point now where we're closing in on the time when I need to be doing that. Still a few kind of core things I need to write, but pretty soon I do need to get the proper map together, I think. So yeah, let's take a look at this. So bear in mind that the top row is 1, not 0, because we do have the hood at the top. So this is going from here. So 1, 2, 3, and 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4, 3 is our position here. That's our X and our Y. And our width and our height is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 4. Cool. So that's it. We have a passable area. So the other thing we do need to do is we need to make sure that these are cleared when we leave the screen. So we need to call this reset, and that needs to be done at the same time we do all the other things, which I think is in the map loader. Let me just check in here. Reset font map. No, it's not that. Could be this one. I need to be absolutely sure where this is actually being cleared. I can't see that. Who's that? Ah, thank you, Warlock, for the gift sub to Tron6502. The best type of Tron, a Tron6502. Appreciated, and even in Microman. Hope you're doing well. So one of the cool things I got this week, well, I kind of I started trying to make it myself, and because Monsters Go Boom had done a script for Sprite to export Commodore 64 data in a format you can copy into Charpad. And they did Mega 65 export for me as well. And it's awesome. I love it. So now I don't have to use my crazy scripts. I can just use the Sprite export and it works a treat. So that's pretty good. I'll demonstrate that next time I do a stream on Mega. I'm not sure where it's going to be actually. Where's this load map? Maybe it's in the player. There's something which calls load map, and I need to figure out. Next screen. Here we go. Map load and next screen. It's going to be that definitely. Yeah, here we go. Particles, items, reset. Here we go. I knew there was a place where the resets were all called. So this will be passable areas dot reset. And that's just making sure that once we load a new screen in, that they're reset as well. So what is the sprite limit on the Mega 65? It's exactly the same. It's still using the Vic sprites, so you get 8 sprites as you do normally. But the difference is you can have 16 colors in the sprites, and there can be various sizes as well. So there is trying to remember the different sizes now. There's 4 widths, I think. There's 8 pixels wide, 16 pixels wide. No, there's more than that. So there's 8, 16, 24, 64, or the entire width of the screen as well. But yeah, you can, because it's so fast, you can multiplex really, really quickly. You can also adjust the height of sprites down to anything you want. So you can have very, very small sprites and multiplex lots of them. So yeah, it should be pretty good. I need to get onto that fairly soon. I'm just trying to work out. I'm trying to write a disk loader at the moment, so I can load things from these disks to to basically into memory and then unpack them in memory. So, oh, pardon me. So I'm trying to do that at the moment, but there's a couple of stumbling blocks. The deployment system isn't quite up to what I need it to be to do that. So, working on getting the tools sorted with Paul and a few of the others from the Mega 65 team to enable me to get a bit further, basically. And then I'm going to write a Mega 65 version of Exomizer, and hopefully get that going. So, um, oh, those none of those were sprites, SP. Those were just characters. There's no sprites used at all on that screen. The sprites are on top of that as well. So, and there's a small. I've got a small. Well, not an issue, but there's an optimization that I've requested for that raster rewrite system. So I'm hoping that goes in, because it will make writing stuff with that a lot easier. I'm going to work around it for now, but there will be something. And as I say, I'll get the video for that up on YouTube in the next couple of days. It's very different to my normal videos, because it is properly scripted and edited and stuff, and it's definitely different to my normal style. So bear with me while I work out how the hell to do that. So it was on Cider, probably. Yes. Okay, so we can add an area, we can clear an area. So now we just need to change our collision. So so we should have probably somewhere collision. Here we go. Okay, get collision lookup. So we pass in a sprite position. And then we get collision char X and char Y. Hang on, so get blocked at position. Okay, I need to think about how this works at the moment. Let's take a look at the player. I need to remind myself how this is actually working. Let's move this over here. So here's where we do the collision. No, here, sorry. Okay, so we're actually using offsets into the sprite. So the sprite positions that we get here return a collision char X and a collision char Y. So at this point here, we can do check. So we've got collision char X and collision char Y at this point. So we can use those. Those are 0-page locations, I believe. Let me just double check that in here. Yes, those are 0-page locations here. So what that means is in this check routine here, let's get rid of some of these now. So in this check routine here, what we can do is we can check if the value that we're checking against falls within any of these rectangles. If it does, then the collision lookup. Oh, actually, collision lookup. Interesting. So player gets the collision, get collision lookup, which is this bit here. Let me just get rid of that for a second. Which sets our collision char X and our collision char Y for a given position. Get blocked at position does this, which does this same routine here. Okay. So it does the collision lookup here. So what I'm actually going to do in that case is I'm going to allow this to happen, because this looks like it's been used elsewhere, like it's been used here. And I don't really want to affect this, because this is going to be used. Play center X, play center Y is used to work out how far away you are from mines and things. So I don't want to affect that. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it here. And what we'll do is we'll return from here if we've hit something. So it looks like here, if we return 0, then we're fine. If we return 0, that means we can pass through the area. So what I'm going to do is I am going to have it return here. So if carry is clear, so we'll use the carry flag to say if we're clear or not. If the carry is clear, that means we're in a rectangle. And we'll jump to here. If the carry is set, we're not. So, well, actually, let's do it the other way and let's put a note in. Set carry and return if we are inside a rectangle. And then here, thank you for the host sin now as well. Exit inside rect. Okay, so this is what we're aiming to try and do if we're inside a rectangle. I'm going to take a quick break now because I do need to go and get a cider. I'll go to the toilet while I'm gone, and then when I come back, we'll write this routine. Should be pretty simple, really. We're just basically checking these two values, collision char x and collision char y. In fact, let me just write those here. So these are the values we're checking. We just need to see if they're within our particular rectangles. Okay, let me grab the stuff to go on a break. All right, I shall be back in 5 minutes, guys. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. And I have brought more cider. Thank you for the host as well, Highlanded 71. Appreciated. Cheers. Okay. So really we just need to check the values in here against these values here. So really simple. We load data, comma x, and we compare that to collision char x, and there needs to be comma x here, collision char x. So this number needs to be more than this value here for this to have found. Otherwise, we haven't found, and we can jump to here, which is skip. So if this is less, we jump to skip. Nice and simple. However, if it is in range, then the next thing we need to do is we need to make sure that it stays within the range. So the easiest way to do this is to add the width to the value in the accumulator here. That will give us the far side. So the carry flag is set here. So if we get to this point here, the carry flag will be set. So we do need to clear it. And then we need to add data width here. And then we can do the same comparison again against here. Now this time, if the carry flag is set, we are on the border of we are outside basically. Yeah, so that's correct, because if you imagine something, an X position at 0 with a width of 1, and we are checking if 0 is collided, 0 will be within this range, 1 will be outside of this range. We'll just be in a new character at this point, because the width is only 1 character and that character is 0. If this was 2, the character would be 0 to 1. If this was 3, maybe 0 to 2, and so on. So if we add the width to our X position, then our collision char needs to be less than it. So what we do is we do that comparison, and then we just do the opposite here. We do branch if carry set skip, and that's it. That's collision char X. And then essentially we just do the same thing for collision char Y, but with Y here. I thought I recognised that tune. It just wasn't the way I would have used to hearing it. I mean, it's correct. Okay, so at this point we have hit. We are in a rectangle. We are in a passable area, so we can jump to here basically. So the easiest way to do this is invert that last one, and that should be it. That should be enough. So if we just test that, we should be able to, on that one screen, move a little bit inside that area. So let me just add another passable area in. And this time we are adding this area here. So this is 4, 1. And it's 4 wide and 2 high. So 4 across, 1 down. And it's 4 wide, 2 high. And there we go. That's our passable areas for that screen. So with a bit of luck now, we should be able to move through that section. Why is that not loading? Okay. We should be able to move through that section. Before I start, I just want to turn off this border color change here, which I believe is in power ups. Let me just find 020. Yeah, there we go. I think that's the only one in here. Let me just check. Yeah. Okay. Do quick test when we load the game. I'll just make sure that's not happening. The other reason we need the map data from Andy as well is we're using more characters than I want to use, which means that some of the stuff needs shifting around. So the quicker I can get that, really, the better. What I might do is reduce this map down so it's only 512 characters, just so it doesn't break. No, actually, I'll wait. I'm a little bit worried that the longer I leave it, the more complicated it's going to feel to do. So why did that not load up? Or did it load up and I closed it immediately? Oh no, stop it. Oh, because I need to actually import it. Okay. So in loader here, I really need to sort a better way out of doing this as well. But so what did I call it? Passable areas. Okay. Oh, because this should be data.next index. Okay, I think that's fine now. It's quite a lot of code before I've actually run it, so it should be interesting. First time running the code after basically implementing the whole system, so okay, it's not loading. Oh no, it is loading. There we go. Interesting. Okay, it's cool. So the border changes off. Oh, there was no shake on the explosion. There should be a shake on. Oh no, it's the mines that shake when they explode. So that's correct as well. Now hopefully, no. Okay, so we can't get in here. Okay. Okay, so well, I mean, it's to be expected. I wasn't expecting it to work first time. That would have been a miracle. But let's have a look. Okay, so we should be checking through this list. So let's first of all, let's make sure that the checks are happening by putting a breakpoint in. Let's just put it here. Actually, that should be fine. So we just need to make sure if we go into a screen that has areas, shouldn't you just check using the width? Shouldn't you check using the width and height as well? It is checking with the width and height. Yeah. here. Yeah, no problem. It's nice to see people paying attention. I like it. I worry sometimes that people are just distracted by all the games, so it's always good uh, when I see people paying attention. It's good. uh, okay, I don't know why I'm grabbing that. I don't need to grab that. Okay, so on this screen, there we go. So it is checking on this screen, and I believe it's only going to check when I try and move. So yeah, okay. So that's good. So it's not doing the check all the time. It's only doing it during collision checks, which is good. That's a good way for this to work. Okay. So the next question is, why is it not checking these values? So let's put a breakpoint right here and just see what value we get for that data X. Now, I would expect this to be 4, and then, well, 4 both times, actually. No, it's fine. You enjoy you enjoy. People can enjoy the stream however they want. It always makes me smile a little bit when somebody joins in. Um, I'm perfectly happy for people to play the gambling games. I'm perfectly happy for people to just lurk in the background. It's do whatever you need to do to enjoy the stream. It's fine. I enjoy it naked with the martini. I I strangely don't doubt that. I don't know why, but I don't doubt that. Pay attention to the code while I get the quiz points. Yes. Sneaky. See what you're doing there. See what you're doing there. Okay, yeah, so it's definitely getting the right X position. So let's have a look what the collision char X is saying on the next row. So if I just have a look at the next row, it's saying compare with the value that's in 93. So let me go and have a look at 93. And that's saying we're checking position 5, which kind of makes sense because if we look at the map, yeah, it is kind of in that location where we're checking. We are roughly in that position. Okay, so that kind of makes sense. So collision char Y must be the one after it. So let's just check that value. Actually, tell you what would be good if I hang on. Let me. Oops. Oh, God's sake. Okay, so we've got to watch on 378C. Okay, so let me 378C. Okay. So I should be able to move up to here. Let's get up to this edge. Okay, so I'm on this edge now. And let's put that back in again. So watch exec 378C. Okay, so now if I try and move into that edge, I should get a breakpoint. And now I can start checking things. So to check again, our X position is now at 11, which is 1-7. So that's here. Now that is 26. Sorry, not 26. Let's have a look. 40, 58. So yes, we're checking 1-7, which is this one here. 1-1, which is 17. So we are checking this row here, which is correct. And we're checking at position 4, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're checking this one here. So let me just undo that. We're checking that position there, which means we should get through this entire thing, and at the very least, get to this position here. So let's have a look. I should probably have done this in the debugger. Actually, it would have been a little bit easier. But let's just step. Okay, so actually it's failed at this point here. So the accumulator was actually on 4, and we compared that to 11, and it was less. Oh, hang on. I've got these the wrong way around. That's all. Okay. So what we need to check is Yeah, these need flipping round, that's all. Okay. I think that's right. So we check the X position of the rectangle against the position we're checking. That X position needs to be less than the position we're checking. So if it's more, if it's equal to or more, then we skip ahead, which actually means we might need to add 1 to our positions. Let's see what happens. I think it's going to work, but I think we're going to have an offset issue because of the way carry set and carry clear work. So second BCS BCC. This one is inverted because what it would normally be is BCC skip, but skip is right here, so I just invert it and instead jump to the exit. So I'll leave that one commented out. So will it also work if you're moving right? Yeah, it should do. It should work the same in both directions. So we'll do a test on that by adding another area at some point. So let's just check this first. Okay. Kind of want to grab that, but the amount of time it takes me to get that speed, I don't think it actually benefits. Okay, I'm still not able to go in that way. Okay, let me run this in the debugger so we can actually see what's going on. I think that's going to give us the most benefit here. So let me start by figuring out where this is, and loading the debugger up. Oh, what? Okay. Okay, I don't know why that suddenly decided that it needs to show, but now bear in mind that this does not work with labels and stuff, so I have to be I have to mess around a little bit in here. It's simply because hang on, am I trying to load a PRG? What am I trying to load here? It's simply because I'm using a weird system for loading stuff in, so it's not quite the same. Hey Thalamus, welcome. Okay, is that actually there? Oh yeah, it's there in the top corner. Okay, so let's just get to that position. I need to find out where that check is, so let me see if I can find that in. So good tip when you're looking for memory addresses like this is just do. Oh, it's not found it at all. Okay. If you do a compile, which we've got there, okay, and then you do a search for a particular value. Yeah, there you go. You will find there'll be a debug file that has that memory address in it. So this is the label file that normally I'm trying to look at. So 3782 is what I'm looking for. It's that memory address. Normally you wouldn't need to do this. Normally you just have this working. But obviously the cart setup is a bit broken. So okay, so let's go to 3782. Where did that go? It didn't go anywhere. Okay, go 3782. And let's compare that to our list here. Okay, so that's this bit here, and we're interested in if we actually have stuff on the screen. Okay, so let's go and then go back into here. Okay, so we should be able to move through the level now. And now it's breaking. Okay, so let's leave that breakpoint there, all ready to go in there, and just move up to the position we want to be at. So here's our position. Let's put that in there. Trigger the breakpoint. Right, here we go. So we're in this position now. Collision char X and collision char Y are at 93 and 94. Let me make these a bit bigger and slide it over so you can kind of see the code on one side. Let me move this code over. So there you go. You can see the code. There we go. Right. And let's go through the debug of this. Okay, so these are our collision characters. So this is where we're actually checking. This is the position on the screen that we're actually checking for collision. And you can see that down here as I move around the screen. You can see the numbers that appear under here next to the break. So 11.4 is there, which is about right. That's the character that we're checking for collision right at this moment in time. So first of all, we compare it against. Sorry, that's that's the collision value we're checking, and the accumulator contains the actual, or it will contain once I skip to it. So now the accumulator contains the X position. So X is 4, and it's going to compare that to 11. And if it's 11 or more, it's going to skip, which it's not. So it goes on to there. The horizon is not geometric. Thank you for the follow. Earth is flat. It's really not. It's really not. Sorry to break that to you. But yeah, I'm not going to get into that. Oh, behind the keyboard overlay. Yeah, let me shrink it down a little bit then. There you go. Might be a little bit harder to see the numbers now, but you can see if as I move over there, it's 11.4. Okay, so we've correctly gone past the first one. So now we're going to add the width of this box to accumulator. So our width is, I can't remember what our width is now. What did we say it was? Well, the first one is just a width of 4. So this is the first box we're checking. So this is going to go to 8. So let's just check that happens. Oh, I did go forward. I didn't see that. The accumulator is indeed 8, and now we compare that again to our. Oh, why is there a NOP 0F there? What's that about? What? Hang on, what the hell? Okay, I'm not sure why that's shown as NOP 0F, because that's an illegal instruction that it's trying to show there. Okay, so what we're doing now is we're saying is the value that we're checking less than our collision? It's not less than it, because our value is sorry, our width is 8. Oh, hang on, no, that is, yeah, so is it more? If it's more than it, then we would go to the next session. So we should be jumping to skip here. So this should be a jump, but for some reason it's a NOP. Oh, I'd have pressed the wrong button. Damn it. All right. I've got to remember to press F10, not F11. Let's do it again. Okay. So we come through here. And that should jump now, but it's not. It's going into the next section. Why is that a NOP? I don't understand. That's really weird. Where's the actual... 040F? Yeah, it's got the wrong value in there. Why is it compiling to that? Why is it building to that? That's weird. Unwanted self mod code. Yeah, maybe. But why would it write to there though? That's a very, very strange thing. There's no such thing. No, there is. So there are some illegal instructions. Let me show you those actually, because that's quite an interesting thing. I'll show you why it's shown as a NOP. There are a lot of illegal instructions which you probably know about on the C64. And there's lots of NOP instructions. So NOP, as well as having an intermediate mode, which is this one here, at EA. Let me make that a little bit bigger, maybe. as well as having a NOP here, which you're used to seeing. NOP exists in many places. So EA is just the one that people use, but there are other ones as well that are illegal instructions, as in they're unintended. They're not the documented instructions. So all the ones that are in this column are immediate. Uh, what do they call it? They don't call it immediate mode. What do they call it? Implied mode? Yeah, implied. So all the ones in the A column are implied. You can see there's not. They're all 2 cycles, and they're all implied mode. Because they're all in the column where everything in this column is implied mode. So you've got your ASLs in there, you've got your transfers in there, but there's NOPs in this column as well. So this is the 0 page column, 0 page and 0 page indexed with X. And there's NOPs in here as well. So whenever there is an instruction, whenever you pass an instruction that has a lower nibble of 4 that doesn't exist in the 6502 set, it becomes a NOP. So you can actually waste a few bytes. So if say you wanted to do a NOP but you wanted to use 3 bytes, you could do this. What you can also do, which is really interesting, is actually kind of what's happening here. You can set a branch up. Say you've got a branch like this, and you want to change it on the fly. You can self mod this to be a NOP skip by doing, just changing that byte there to a 4, and basically make the branch never happen. So, yeah, it's I just don't understand why it's doing that. It's really weird. It shouldn't be doing that. Let me compile it again and open it again in here. So what we're looking at, 3796. Okay. I just want to make sure I'm not going mad, and I want to check the version of Kick Assembler I've got in here as well. 5.13. Okay. Because I have been messing with newer versions of Kick Assembler. So one of the things again with the Mega 65 is I'm using the latest version of Kick Assembler that Jasper, I forget his last name, I apologize, Jasper. Yeah, he did a version for the Mega 65 and it's got some updated stuff, but I'm pretty sure I used it separately, and I have according to this. Okay, let me open that up in here. Good night, Dark J. Thanks for joining. Okay, 3796. No, 3. Wait. Oh, because I've got to actually start the game, that's why. Three 796. See, now it's put it in. Oh, see, I'm worried there is some self mod going on here now. I think Andy might be right. So let's take a look. Come into this screen. Yeah, something changes it. As soon as I push against that location. I wonder if, because we're exiting. Hang on. Yeah, I think I know what's going on anyway. But if I don't figure it out in a minute, then I'll use the I'll do exactly that on him. So I think what's happening is part of the routine in here actually oh no, because we still get a collision lookup here. It should be fine. All right, yeah, let's do that. So let's load the game up. Let's work out where the hell this is being changed. So load the game up. Jump to our location just so we can see it. So this is the location here. And then in the breakpoints in here, turn the memory ones on. 3796 more than or equal to 0. So whenever that gets set to more than or equal to 0. And let's have a look what's actually doing it. So that's here. You bet it's an index going negative. Oh, already? Okay. Question is, where the hell is that? This is the problem. I don't know where any of this is because I don't have freaking labels. I did make these though, which is interesting. So this looks like this is up in the screen data, which would make it kind of this area. Is it that macro? Is it this thing here maybe? Let's have a look. It kind of looks like it because we've got XXXX Y. Shouldn't be Y here. Should be X as well. And that's why, because it was storing it. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah, exactly. So basically, instead of storing into this array here, it was writing ahead a little bit. So okay, cool. Boom, 500. Yeah, changed on screen change. Yeah, it's to do with that the screen load stuff. So hardest things for coders is making the program do what you mean and not what you're telling it to do. Yes, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, yeah. Andy is on fire. He's doing well. Store Y rester X. Yeah, I bet it's in it. Yeah, no, I was following along. I was following along. Let's see if it's quicker to get this. I don't think it is quicker to get this, but maybe. Oh, okay. So I'm definitely getting blocked. Can you see that? So we definitely need to shift that over by 1, but now the block is wrong. So okay, think about this. Think about this. Okay, so here's our rectangle. Here's our collision. So we're comparing the left side of the rectangle to our collision. If it is more than our collision, then we're not. We're on the left hand side of the rectangle, not inside it. So we jump to skip. Otherwise, add the width to the rectangle. Yep. I kind of feel like we need to subtract 1 from this here, but we'll do that in a minute. So now we have the right hand side in the accumulator, and we compare that to what we're checking. If that is we check the right hand side. If that is more, no, if that is less, then we go to skip. Yeah, okay. Okay, so first of all, let me put this in here. This should solve our issues with the screen on that side. No, actually, that's not going to work because we do have the potential of having a secret that goes right up to the edge of the screen. So actually what we need to do here is if it is are you doing collision? Yes. Doing the secret kind of areas that you can go. The X and Y, you're checking the ones ahead of you. Yes, exactly. Yeah. But what I'm checking is if it's we're using a secret areas now. So what it's doing, it's allowing me to define a rectangle. X and Y checking the ones. Yes, they are ahead. Yeah. So Actually, let me do this again in the debugger, because I think that's going to be the easiest way to do this. So, okay, let me get to that screen. Let me get up to that edge, and let me push into that edge, and then we should be able to see what's going on. I don't know why the multiplexer flickers in the debugger, but it really does kind of flicker. Not sure why. Okay, so we're at this edge now, and you can see the collision is working correctly for the bullets, because that's a different check. But when we get to here, we get stuck on this. It thinks the edge is here, and that's just because of the way that the um, carry clear and carry set works. We're actually checking one higher than we need to. That's absolutely fine. But what I want to do is go to 3796 in here. Whoops. 3796. Also, I think the reason why it's flickering is because I'm in NTSC mode, actually. I think that's what's going on. So I'll sort that in a minute. That's probably why it's flickering. Interesting, though. It's kind of working. Okay, so 3796 is here. So this was the check we were doing before. So let's go through this check from the beginning. So from here. Okay. So why is it stuck? Why is it getting stuck there now? Okay. There we go. So now I'm pushing against the edge. The accumulator is at 4. So we should be hitting a blank. So we should be getting down to this area here. So let me move that down. So we should be getting to this here, which is once you carry clear this one here. So we should be getting to that step there. So if I step through, no, okay. So this one is failing. So let's try that again. It's failing because at this point we were checking the first. We were checking this one up here, and it will fail. But this is the second one, so this should be okay. And we're not. Okay, so we're failing on both of those. Okay, let's see again. So left edge is 4, right edge is 8, so we should fail. Okay. And where are our positions? 13 and 5. Okay. Left edge is 4. Other edge is 12. Oh, we're failing because we're failing because of this stupid this extra position. Okay. Okay, so think about this. So what I'm trying to check here is the left edge equal to or less? Okay, so we can I'm going to put a thing here. I'm going to call this loop. Thanks for the bits, Bad Sid. I used to do a bit of C# back in the day when it was Xbox 360. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so what I want to do is if these are equal, I'll work out the logic for these a little bit better later on, but I'm just trying to get through this. However, here, so if we're at 0, so let's think about this, right? So this is our area. It runs from 4. How many characters wide was it? Let's just do it in the actual screen. Okay. So this is the bit that we're checking here. It runs from 4 to 17 actually, because 4 and it's 14 wide, so 18 is just outside. So actually, this should be. Why is this not working? What the hell? Ah, because it's less than or equal to. It should be also. Yeah. Okay. So it should be another one here. God damn it! All right. It's pronounced C hashtag. Someone told me once it was called C plus 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 because if you get 2 pluses and put 2 pluses underneath them, you get a hash, which I thought was kind of funny. Still getting blocked there for some reason. I don't know why. Okay. I think that's what it comes down to is just the test on this position is wrong. C plus third, yeah. This should have been so simple, and I've somehow made it more complicated. What about if I go the other way? So if I was to take, yeah, let's try doing it the other way, right? So if I take my position that I'm trying to check and compare, can I do compare corrects? I think I can. Okay, so I want to compare it against the left edge. If it's less than that edge, then I jump to skip. Now I need to check against the right edge. So I need to add. See, this is where it gets tricky, you see. So if I was to take that. Oh, okay. Yeah, let's do it this way. Okay, so it's a little bit backwards, and I'm sure I could simplify this, and I will try and simplify it at some point. But for now, I'm going to do it this way just to make sure it works. And then I compare that to collision chart. If it's more, okay, that should be fine. So the basic idea is if XY is outside the box, then move. No, if XY is inside the box, then move. This is kind of negating the collision. So we're basically creating cutouts in the collision. And I can't go up. I can't go up because I'm freaking blocked there now. Right. Why is this being such a pain? So if you're inside the box, you need to drop all the way through to this bit here. Is this before the player actually moves? Yeah. So what's happening is, if you imagine this is the player here, and I want to move to the left, then what happens is it checks 2 positions. It checks these 2 positions to see if they're both clear. If they're both clear, then I can move. So what normally happens is if there is a wall here, let's say there's a wall here, it returns can't move, can't move. If either of these return that there's a wall, then it fails. But what we're doing is we're saying, before you return this value, just check if there's a rectangle in this location. If there is a rectangle here, then instead of returning whether there's a wall there or not, ignore that and just return no, it's clear. It should be so simple. Oh, cool. I was just saying it'd be good to get the maps here. And I think we're getting to the point where we're kind of needing the maps fairly soon. So Yeah, that'd be really good. Okay, let's just get rid of the Y collision for now. Let's have a look at this, right? So this is just checking X collision. And if we get to this point here, then we've fallen through everything and we're going to jump here. So that's what we're checking here. Ah, do you know what? Do you know? God damn it! I'm not actually doing anything here. Oh yeah, I am. That should be clear though, like that. There we go. Yeah. All right. Okay. That shit. That could have been the problem all along. That I wasn't actually doing anything with it. Fuck's sake. All right. Okay. Okay. If I'm going to work in multiple files, it helps if I actually look at the other files now and again, instead of just assuming I've done the work in there. Just go and double check it now and again. Okay, so we're only doing the X here, but we should be able to hopefully confirm that we can move through that area. And that's going to probably work all the way through here, yeah. Because anytime we're in that position, we should be able to move across, and we'll stop at the edges, which is actually, that doesn't seem like it's far enough, but okay. Is that the right position? Doesn't look like the right position to me. No, it's not. It's not far enough. Okay. So let's have a look. So we take our position, compare it to data X. If our position is less than that, we jump to skip. Otherwise, we check the right side against our collision check. If the right side is more than our collision check, we jump to skip. However, if it's less, we jump to here. Okay, that should be right, but let's do this bit now. So let's do the same thing there. Let's just copy that and do the same thing. So we're doing collision Y this time against Y, against Y, against height, against Y. I will simplify these two lines once I know it's working. D flat. Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's exactly what I'm doing. The problem is I'm trying to be smart and trying to make it quick, and I probably should just just not do that. See, look, it's failing in weird places. I don't know why. Like it's letting me through here, and it shouldn't be letting me through there, and it's letting me through here as well. Oh, God's sake. All right. All right, so let's do what Tron's saying there. Let's write down what we're actually testing. So what we're checking is if our collision X is less than our box X, or our collision X is more than our box X plus our box width. Skip. And that will actually be so if we inverse this that would mean if cx, like so, less than or equal to. Oh, actually, hang on. So if cx is more than this minus 1, it would be. Yeah, okay. So then if we invert that, that becomes less than cx, less than or equal to cx. Yeah, that should be right, I think. Agonites and Direct, thanks for joining. I can't believe this simple thing is taking so long. There is actually, thinking about it, oh my god, there is a really simple way of doing this. There is a super simple way of doing this, and I forgot what it is. Hang on. If you okay, yeah, I think if you take cx, sorry, bx plus bw minus cx, if that is less than that, I think. So if that was 1 plus 4, and that was at 0, be 5. Okay. 1 plus 4, and this was at 6. Yes, that will work, because this will now go, yes. Damn it, for God's sake, that was so easy as well. Okay, so this is a very simplified way of doing this check here. So I'm gonna comment this all out, and I'm gonna try this now. So basically, I need to take data.x, x clear, and I need to add data dot width, x, and then I need to subtract decision chart. Now, if we are on the right hand side of that, then these two numbers added together minus this number here, and I think it'll actually be -1 as well. I'll have to check in a minute. I think it might be minus 1. Well, imagine it here, right? So if our box starts at 0, well, let's say our box starts at 1 and it has a width of 4, which means if we're at position 6 on the screen, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, so position 5, we're outside of the box now. So yes, -1 as well. So 1 plus 4 minus 5 minus 1 equals -1. And so that will be FF, and therefore this check would fail. Likewise, if you're on the other side, so 1 plus 4 minus 0, which makes us outside of the box. -1 gives us 4, which is not less than our width, so we're outside of the box. So again, this check fails. However, if we're anywhere in the middle here, then we go from 0 to 3 and it works. Cool. All right. Whew. That's the check. I knew there was an easy way of doing this check, and I couldn't remember what it was. So we're only actually doing one comparison here. I'm pretty sure there's a slightly easier way of doing all this adding together and stuff, but yeah, there's going to be a way to make this compare to 0 as well. Well, let's do this. This is kind of doing the trick anyway. So we compare this to data.width. And if we're less than that, we're inside the box. So if we're more than that, then we go to skip. Okay. I knew there was a way of doing it because I remember doing range checks like this. I actually posted something on Twitter a while ago to do with this. I'm sure there's an easier way still, but I'm going to go with this one for now. If I minus BW from both of those sides, then that becomes 0. But then the width has no meaning, so I can't do that. Okay, yeah. All right, let's try that. So I'm waffling on to myself. I'm sure it's not very interesting. Hey, Red Fox. How's it going? There's definitely an easier way of doing this. I know there is. I wish I could dig it out. It's one of my old tweets. I might have to look at it afterwards and figure it out. There's a sneaky way of doing this with a carry flag, I'm pretty sure. There we go. So that's actually perfectly lined up now. Exactly where we want it. All right. Okay, so let's do the same thing. Let's do the same thing with the Y, and then I'm going to try and figure out if there's a way of simplifying this. I'm fairly certain there is. I just can't remember exactly what it is. Oh, it's bugging me. It's really bugging me. I know I've done this, and I know I've done it in like a few lines. It definitely doesn't have this +1 here. I can't remember what it is. Damn it! All right, this will work anyway. Good, thanks. Finally got back into things and actually writing code that works. Yeah, I'm struggling with that tonight. How am I? I'm good, thank you. I'm good. I just I'm it's bugging me. I know there is a really simple way of doing this range check, and I cannot for the life of me remember what it is. In fact, I'll take a break in a minute and see if I can dig it out of my old my old Twitter posts from God knows when it'll be, probably last year sometime. We definitely recall something though. Okay, so that's working now. See, this is all blocked here, but we should be able to get into this gap up here, which we can. And you can see we go right up to the edge where we need to, and we should be able to move on to the next screen. Perfect. So now we can get onto this screen, which means we can shoot these. These are not going to drop anything because, actually, I don't know why they're not. It should be at least shootable. Maybe I've not set them up with, might not set them up with stuff. Yeah, nothing on this screen is. Oh, because there's no persistence data set up for this screen yet. That's why. So this is screen 1, and it doesn't have anything in here yet. So let me do this now. Actually, let's open containing folder. Okay, we've got screen 1 in here now. Let's change that there. We need to change map loader in here to load it in. We need to make that actually load in as well. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. So we've got screen 1 in place now. Persistence should already be in here. We've got screen1.bin up here, which is that they're just the actual screen that load in, but you can see persist1.asm. So we just need to import that in, and that's just imported here. So let's do that in here as well. Persist1.asm. Don't think we need to terminate it. No. Okay, so that should be enough to allow that to load up now with the proper bonuses. And then if this works, I'll go and take a quick break, and I will figure out what the hell that piece of code is, because I will find it and I will share it. God, I wish I could remember it. It's really bugging me. It's so simple as well. I'm going to kick myself when I see it. I know I am. It's one of those. Let's grab the speed up. There we go. Okay, so these bonuses aren't going to drop anything because we just haven't defined what they are, but that's going to be one of the next things we have to do, is work out what exists in these boxes, and also a way to handle more than one of these on a screen at a time. So, but there you go. You can see how just enabling the persist, just including that one little file here with a few bytes in it, actually produces these bonus pods, makes them shootable. All right, I'm going to take a quick break while I go and find this goddamn piece of code. And I shall be back in 5 minutes or so, guys. All right, be right back. All right, I'm back, and I found it. It was from May last year. Oh, where's it gone? It's not. It doesn't really apply to this, unfortunately. But you can, if you have a set value for the upper and lower limits, then you can use this trick, and it will do it in 6 cycles, and it'll be very quick. We're kind of doing the same thing, but because we've got dynamic width, yeah, I've done it now. Because we've got dynamic width, it's a little bit different. So, okay, that's fine. That's fine. So the way we've done it is probably all right, I think. Oh, you must be kicking yourself there, Hayes. I'm trying to read what that was saying from Triple Eh. This is kind of overbridging for the system, in all fairness. Oh, right, yeah. You're talking about the Mega 65. Yeah, I mean it's way more than it needs, but that's good. It means it's got room to grow into. So, anyway, I think that's kind of working for that collision now. So that means now what we can do. Humper demo. What it means now is we can we can define these areas around the screen. So there's a couple actually. So in the areas that we've got already. So there's that one there which allows us to go up there. Then there is another one in where is it? Not that one. Not that one. This one here. I believe this is one as well. So the next job is to do some kind of masking around this. I thought about this for a while, and there's a few ways we could do this, but I think the simplest is just to have a masking sprite. So for the most part, the masking sprite will just be a full size black sprite, which will just be moved over the sprite as we enter certain areas. There is a small exception in that there will be cases where it is thinner than the width of a sprite, so it will need changing to be the thinness of the sprite. I can't believe how many YouTubers are writing games for their new Mega. There's no way. I mean, buying them to put on a shelf. Yeah, it is a bit of a shame. It seems to be round about 2/3 of the Mega 65s have gone to collectors, really, rather than developers. But I mean, that's fine. Um, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, the thing to remember is that the money from this does go towards making the final version as cheap as possible. So, and I'm so pleased because I'm getting to have some kind of input on things, which is nice. I feel like my my thoughts on things are being listened to a little bit, and that feels really nice to have a small hand, even if it's only a small part, in kind of shaping the way that the Vic stuff is working in it. And I'm also my aim is twofold. One, it's to give the machine a decent release title. Second is to try and push the emulation to the level where it can be used for proper development. At the moment, it's just lagging behind a little bit, and it's mainly because LGB, who writes the emulator, doesn't really have a large collection um, of Mega 65 kind of programs and games that he can use to do test things with. So being able to give him some stuff that allows him to push the emulator a little bit further should be pretty good. That's why you're trying to emulate. Yeah, I mean, you will get it to emulate, but you will struggle, I think, to get everything spot on. I think Basic is pretty good actually in the emulator, and Basic is fast as well, which is one of the other things that's cool about it. But I don't think it's quite there with the cycle exact machine code at the moment. So certain things just aren't going to work. Like you're not going to be able to do proper horizontal sprite multiplexing. The raster rewrites may be a bit iffy because they're being changed all the time as I'm kind of feeding back and saying what they need. There's other things that are changing all the time as well. So there's definitely some discrepancies between various tools. So wait for the Commander X16. Leave now. Okay, let's think about the masking. Okay, so what do we need to do? We need to say if we're in an area that is where we're being covered. So sorry, let's start again. If on the last frame we no, because the collision might not necessarily be always inside. Okay, so I think what we actually need to do here now is maybe on a screen where there is. We need to think about this, right? If you're on this screen, this one here, right? We know that. Let me cut the area out. So we know that this area is passable, which means if a sprite is drawn, let's say this is our player sprite. So if the player sprite is drawn there, we need to draw a mask over the player at this position here, so that it doesn't appear behind here. So I guess the easiest way to do this is to have a sprite that's black that sits inside this rectangle but cannot pass outside of the rectangle. It can follow the player. So whenever the player moves up and down, it can follow the player, but it must always be inside the rectangle. So basically, if the player is over here, like so, say like this, then this sprite will be there like that. So it's moved all the way this way and all the way down, but it can't go any further. If this sprite then moves to here, there's the players move to there, then this sprite moves to here. Do you get what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Couldn't you get away with just changing the sprite color? No, not really, because the problem is you could kind of change the sprite color to black, but there'd still be a point at which it's inside, half inside and half outside. So, for example, the sprite is not actually that size, right? The sprite is this size. It's roughly that size. It's a little bit shorter in each direction, but it's roughly that size. There are some places in the game where there are columns like this. So how do you hide the player behind that column but still have it peek out of the edges? So there's going to be a point at which you can move to both sides here. That's where it's going to get tricky. So my idea is to have this sprite inside this area. Question is, how does it move to other areas though? Yeah, you could make the column a set of sprites, but then how do you handle this area here? And also making the column a set of sprites means you would have to use 2 sprites for each bit over the player. It is a tricky task. And the only reason it's needed is because if you look on here, as the player moves through some of these areas, you can kind of see him. And that's wrong. It shouldn't be like that. You shouldn't see it at all. It should be masked. So as the moment you start going in here, it should be masked. Okay, so I think that area looked fine. Yeah, but I want it to be as accurate to the original game as possible, and the original game masks it as it goes there. And I don't think it's impossible to do at all. Question is, how is it going to move between these 2 rectangles? That's where it's going to get a bit tricky. Yeah, that power up is essential. Once you get that, I can't even remember what's in here, but I do need to add them. But yeah, once you get that, it suddenly gets a whole lot easier. um, let's have a look. What else? Suggestions. You get the spinning shield up there. Yes, you do. That's a good point. That's probably one of the next things we need to implement is that thing, because that's really essential. Now the spinning shield won't have any masking, so that will be flying around all over the place. Just because there isn't really much point in masking it. It moves so quickly you're not going to see it, but the player is your kind of focal point. So it does need masking there. So could you put a few sprites over the area too? Yeah, so this is what I'm intending on doing. So that's what this is going to be here. So this yellow piece here represents the player. This is a sprite that is just a black square that fits over the player. So basically what you do is, as I say, you move this sprite basically to be constrained within this rectangle. So wherever I move this player, so if I move the player, if I move the player over here, this kind of mask sprite will move to the edge of the area, but it can't get out of this area. It's constrained within this rectangle. And then if you move kind of inside, then obviously it fills to cover you completely. If you move close to the edge, then it will just move within the constrained area. So you'll get a black cover over it here, but you'll still see a little bit of the player there. Then that way, wherever you move around the screen, yes, there'll be a black sprite moving around, but hopefully it should only mask you when you move into that area. There will be some edge cases, like I say, for columns and things, and we may have to think about how to do multiple rectangular areas to make sure that, for instance, you can move the this sprite from here up to here, for instance. So when you move up, it follows you as well. I need to have a think about that, but I think the easiest way to do this right now is if we just put a sprite in and we lock it to this rectangle and see what happens. It just means, let's have a look. Would it similarly just use the check for the player in the box and only draw the black sprite in your position at time? Yes, in a sense, I was thinking that. That's what I was thinking at first. But here's the problem: if the player is in this position, if you pull to the left, then the checks are going to be here. Let me do where these checks are. The checks are going to be here and here, and that is indeed inside the box. However, if you move to the right, then the checks are here and they're outside of the box. So you can freely move in this direction. It's not going to detect you being inside the box. It's just going to think you're in the normal space. And so you can't really draw the sprite at that point. The other way you could potentially do it is always check underneath the sprite to see if you're within those rectangles. But honestly, you may as well just do where, if there are rectangles on the screen, move a sprite to be within those boxes. Could you just have a black version of your player and switch it when in those areas? Again, that's what Highlander said. But if you imagine you're at this position here, the only way I know that I'm in that area is if I try and move in there. So the moment I go from there and I push in that direction, it's saying I'm inside that rectangle. So at that point, the whole sprite would disappear. So you disappear literally with 20 pixels that should still be showing of your character. They would just disappear. So it it wouldn't look great. You just kind of disappear as you hit that edge. So. But just having the black sprite within the rectangles. So basically, what we need to do is if you come onto a screen and it's got rectangles, there'll be an update. So basically, we can have something maybe in here, which is an update. And the first thing that can do is this check here. So we come in here, we check. Do we have any rectangles? If we don't, return. Otherwise, we're going to do this bit of stuff here. And what this is going to do is this is going to set the sprite up. So we can have the sprite set up here when we add. If it becomes more than 0, then we can just immediately add the sprite. And then all we need to do is for every rectangle in the area is we need to move as close to the player as we can get. So this is one rectangle here. Let's color them in. So this would be the first one, and this would be the second one. Okay, so these are our rectangles, and I'm going to cut an area out of these. So let's imagine we want to draw a sprite in there, and our player is here. So first of all, we do this square here. So we check this and we say, okay, our player is here, our rectangle is here. So draw the sprite as close to the player as we can get it. So we start with the sprite maybe off here somewhere. So wherever you are in this box, it's going to be closer. So the sprite ends up getting drawn here, like so. Then it goes to the next rectangle and it says, okay, where's the closest place in this box? And the closest place would be here. And then it would say, okay, is that closer than the previous position? Yes, in that case, move to that position. And that would be where we block there. I think that could work. I think that's the sensible way to do it. Let me just check what Gunstar said. Can you just catch space from the open area? leave that rectangle masked and then invert it. The problem is we can't mask the entire area, so we can only mask a very small area. So what you have to do is you have to, because we're not really masking, right? We only have black and white pixels. We have transparent pixels and we have white pixels. We don't have a black pixel. Black is just happens to be transparent. The background is transparent. The background is black. So all we're defining is where the white pixels are. So in order to make the mask, what we have to do is we have to draw a black sprite over something. The only way we can mix that high res look on here, the only way we can mix this high res look with black that actually masks things is by using sprites. We can't draw another layer of text over here because we're already using it. We can only have one layer. So the only thing we can do is draw a black sprite over here and make it appear behind this scenery. But I think this will work. Hang on. I just thought of something else. I've just thought of something else. Holy shit, this might actually work. Okay. If this works, this is cool. So do you remember we did a stream about masking a while ago called Cookie Cutter? This might work. I love watching a eureka moment. Yes. So I like that rectangle method, and that could work, but this is going to be almost free to do. This is almost not going to take anything at all. So let's just check in our multiplexer and see if I need to check this in the debugger. Actually, I need to see how many sprites we're using here. Hopefully we're using this extra sprite, and if we are, then brilliant. And I can just turn it on, set some stuff up, and it should just work, hopefully. So what we can do is we can draw a sprite that's behind the player. Okay. So we draw we draw the black outline behind the player. So you've got player, black outline. But then what we do is we say, okay, the player goes behind the scene. Oh, no, it won't work because... Shit, no, it won't work. Hang on, will it? No, damn it won't work. Oh, no, yeah, I can. Yeah, no, I can. Okay. Shut off the text. No. It's... Oh, no, it's the same freaking system. It's not going to change anything. It's not going to change anything. Okay, we still need to do it. So what I was talking about was Cookie Cutter, where basically what you do is you have a sprite like so, and then you have another sprite which goes here like so. Let's make them slightly different. And then what you say is you have a background layer, like, well, actually, you put the sprites on top of each other. It doesn't really matter. And then you have a background layer, like so, right? And normally you would tell things to go behind the background, but what you do is you make one of them the sprites, even though this sprite is underneath the player sprite, you tell it to be on top of the background. So when it gets to this point here, oh, actually, it might. Let's try it. Let's see if it works. I can't. My head can't quite get around it, but there is some stuff where we've done this. So Hey Chromos. And good night, Highlander. Yeah, I'm gonna do another half an hour. I'm gonna try this out and then we'll do the masking on the next stream if this doesn't work. I just want to check it in the debugger. Actually I'm just gonna set the device back to PAL because was it in there? Yeah. There we go. This might actually work. I'm trying to think if it's possible to do it the way I'm thinking. Um, I think it maybe is, but I need to be sure. Okay, so let's have a look. How many sprites we've got? Okay, so it does look like we have a sprite here, and I think it's this one underneath here. So this one here. Let me just change the color of this sprite. So let me change it to 02. Okay, I don't know why that's not changed. Oh, maybe something is updating it. 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, something is updating it. I don't know why. Oh, it's the multiplex that is updating it. Okay, right. Let's go and change that then. Okay, so here's our multiplexer. Yes, see, we're setting two things here, and we've got a color here. So if I set that to red, cool. All right. So now you should see a red outline underneath the player. Yeah, I think this might work actually. I think this might work. Right, okay. So now you can see the red outline under the player. So I think what I need to do is I need to tell it that the red appears above everything, whereas the white appears underneath everything. So how do I do that? Okay, so I need a memory address. Let me find the memory address that does that. I think it's D01B, I think. No, that's I can't remember. It's around that area anyway, and that's the wrong website anyway. Still the wrong website. That's the right website. Oh, it is D01B. Okay, D01B. Sprite is drawn in front of screen contents. Sprite is drawn behind the screen contents. So we want to tell everything to draw behind. Ah, look, Sprite priority here as well. Tell everything to draw behind, except these last two. Okay, so let's only concern ourselves with these two. Setting it to 0 says that it's drawn in front of screen content. So do that. Okay. So now we're telling the red to draw in front, even though it's behind the white. If this technique works, then this is brilliant. This is a real practical use for cookie cutter masking, which is really good because it's super quick. As you can tell, I mean, it's done in hardware. It's hardware masking, basically. Okay, now that didn't mask the other because they're sprites, but this is background. So no, okay, so it's drawing the main sprite in front as well. Let's just run that in here. And let's mess around with the priorities in here because we've got the priorities here. We can see what's going on in them. Okay, that's not updated for some reason. Oh, I love this tune. You requested this, or is it just on the list? It's a great tune, this. Okay, there we go. Oh, actually, the priorities are wrong here. Look, foreground, foreground. Wait, why are they both foreground? Sprite 7. Okay. Yeah, why are they both foreground? They shouldn't be. Have I got this the wrong way around? Am I doing the wrong value here? T01B, behind screen contents. So FF should be... What? Let's get up into that area and mess around with things. So changing this value here should impact these, but for some reason it's not doing that. Why is that? Shit. Okay. This is definitely it. This is definitely going to work, but I don't know why the background priority is not bloody working there. Oh, wait, hang on. Oh, no, it's still not going to work because it is masking, but it's still showing through the black areas because it's still not. Yeah, okay, that's not going to work. Damn it. Ah, balls. All right. Shame. Shame. The concept was sound, but it's just not going to work in this particular context because we're not using if we were using multicolor mode, this would work. But then again, we wouldn't have this problem anyway, probably. Also, all right, that's fine. It just means we need to move this sprite around. So we have a sprite already. I'm going to switch these two sprites around, and then we will remove the one that's in front and move it as a rectangle in these areas. But I think I'll do that on the next stream. I think I'm probably going to leave it here then at that point. Oh, I'm so annoyed. That was I had a good feeling that was going to do the trick. Well, of course it's not. Of course it can't possibly do because it's it's only going to mask in the locations where it's yeah. All right, damn it. Okay. All right. Yeah, I think I've worked it out. I think my original plan of having these rectangles is having a sprite move around is the correct way to do it. I had a eureka moment which made me remember the cookie cutter masking. But of course it's not going to work because we still have holes in the scenery, so it's only going to mask where there is coverage, which is only useful in multicolor mode to get around the to get around the kind of positioning of certain things. It's fine. It's not ideal, but it's fine. I don't think this routine is going to be that expensive. And it only has to happen on screens with this. It's not like it has to happen all the time. So I think that's what we'll do on the next on the next episode. I will have a think over how this is going to work exactly, and we'll do it there. There's not going to be an episode next week on Thursday because it's Cyberpunk 2077 release day, and I've been waiting what 9 months now for this bloody game to come out, so I am gonna freaking play it on release day. I've actually got the day off as well, so I'll be playing it on Thursday and Friday. I could stream it, yeah, maybe. That's not a bad idea, actually. Um, yeah, I might do actually. I might stream. I might do an all day stream on that from when I start playing it. So, um, it should be. I need to. I need to do some tests to make sure I can. To make sure I can actually stream good. So, because I know I've had some issues with lag for some reason in certain games. So I will do a little bit of testing. I might try some test recordings on like Witcher or something on the same engine. Just to see how it runs. I should be able to. I mean, my computer is definitely good enough to stream and play it as well. So yeah, maybe I'll do that. So on Thursday, probably morning, mid morning, or something like that, there may be a Cyberpunk stream, and I'll just I'll continue it while I play, basically. So, um, cool. Have you got up to 800k in the scores? Jesus, I want to check that before I go. There's quite a lot of people in that scoreboard now. Wow, yeah, you're almost 100k ahead of Steps now, and you're both super ahead of everybody else. You're not on it yet, old school. Oh dear, you have to sort that out. Okay, I will call it a night there. I think it's a kind of sensible place to stop. So, like I say, there won't be a stream next Thursday. There will be one on Tuesday. It will be Game Boy as normal. We're going to continue with the music stuff. Then it will be on. So the next Cecconoid will be a week on the so 2 weeks today. The next Mega 65 will be a week on Tuesday, which will give me enough time to kind of get things like the loader and stuff in and start doing some more kind of exciting. So I want to do some experiments. Plus, I want to get that YouTube video out. It took me a long time to write the script for it, and it's taken me even longer to build the video. So I need to get that out. All right, let's have a look who to raid. Tonda's on again, actually. Yeah, let's go for Tonda again. I always enjoy raiding Tonda. I wish I could remember what page number some stuff was in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, because I'll be asking him to read it. But cool. All right, thanks, guys, and I shall see you on Saturday for some pick and mix. Take care, guys.